everyone, and welcome. You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Michael Hudson, coming to you from Everett, Washington. It is November 10th, 2020. Tonight, we have updates from several of our correspondents across North America. First and foremost, we have Thomas Likeness joining us from Edmonton, Alberta.
Canada's Prime Minister pleading with provincial leaders to put health before economics.
Also joining us tonight is EJ Gonzalez in Alexandria, Virginia.
Virginia Airport adds extra flights in preparation for Thanksgiving.
Jessica Isidro is in Houston, Texas.
Houston police sergeant gets killed in line of duty. City of Houston offers virtual option to celebrate Veterans Day.
And Anna Cui in Las Vegas, Nevada, reporting about Clark County School District planning to transition to hybrid instruction. We also have Carlo Valdez in Union Township reporting about New Jersey taking action to be the second wave of coronavirus. And Angel Membrere in Sacramento reports about Sacramento County moving back to the purple tier on California's blueprint for safer economy. For tonight's entertainment news, Joel Garcia in North Hills, California.
Fans of the popular game show Jeopardy! Mourn the recent passing of longtime host Alex Trebek.
Plus, for business news, Bobby Soriano in New York reports about Microsoft launching the new Xbox, VP going green, Apple adding one more thing, and Ulta looking to beautify Target stores. And for tonight's virtual roundtable discussion, it's National Forget Me Not Day. Who do you wish won't forget you? Our coverage begins now. First, an overview of today's COVID-19 numbers. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University of Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday, November 10th, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 51,284,000. Top three on the list of countries with recorded cases. We have the United States at 10.2 million, India at 8.5 million, and Brazil at 5.6 million. Sadly, this virus has now already claimed more than 1,268,000 lives worldwide. Top three countries with the most number of COVID-19 related deaths are US, more than 239,000, Brazil, more than 162,000, and India, more than 127,000. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Tuesday promised the world a smooth transition after U.S. elections, but refused to recognize President-elect Joe Biden's victory, saying Donald Trump will remain in power.
The world should have every confidence that the transition necessary to make sure that the State Department is functional today, successful today, and successful with the president who's in office on January 20th, mid-afternoon, will also be successful. I'm getting calls from all across the world. These people are watching our election. They understand that we have a legal process. They understand that this takes time, right? It took us 37 plus days in an election back in 2000. We conducted a successful transition then. I'm very confident that we will count, and we must count every legal vote. We've got to get that right. When we get it right, we'll get it right. We're in good shape. In the same way that we have every expectation that every vote here in the United States will be counted too. It is totally appropriate. The United States has an election system that is laid out deeply in our Constitution, and we're going to make sure that we get that right.
World leaders, including almost all U.S. allies, have congratulated Biden, who has achieved unassailable leads in the key states as well as a commanding edge in a nationwide popular vote. But President Trump has refused to concede the November 3rd election and has alleged massive fraud, calling for a recount and legal action. Asked if the United States can still issue statements calling for free elections around the world, Pompeo said the question was, and I quote, ridiculous. Meanwhile, President-elect Joe Biden said Tuesday that Donald Trump's refusal to concede the U.S. election was an embarrassment that will reflect poorly on his legacy.
It's an embarrassment, quite frankly. The only thing that, how can I say this tactfully? I think it will not help the president's legacy.
When asked what he would say to Trump, given the chance, Biden replied, and I quote, "Mr. President, look forward to speaking with you." But the Democratic president-elect downplayed the impact of Trump's refusal to assist with the transition toward a new U.S. administration. Looking ahead to his inauguration, Biden said, and I quote, "The fact that they're not willing to acknowledge we won at this point is not of a much consequence in our planning." Biden said he thinks at the end of the day, it's all going to come to fruition on January 20th. And between now and then, his hope and expectation is that the American people do know and do understand that there has been a transition. In other news, protesters rally outside the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington as it holds a hearing on former President Barack Obama's signature health care program, the Affordable Care Act. The administration of U.S. President Donald Trump seeks to overturn Obamacare, alleging that it is unconstitutional. Take a look.
The justices today are hearing a case, not deciding a case, but they're in the first process of hearing a case that puts the ACA at grave risk of being overturned. And that cannot happen. You know, I am not on the ACA, but there are millions and millions of people who are. We will fight. We will fight. We will never stop fighting. And we don't want the ACA thrown out. We want to improve it.
We will defend the ACA, and we will push for health care for all, for Medicare for all, for health care as a human right, because we know that the folks in that Supreme Court, appointed by Republicans, are trying to strip the most vulnerable people in this country of their health care and their ability to survive and thrive in this country.
The U.S. Supreme Court appeared inclined Tuesday to reject Trump administration arguments and let stand former President Barack Obama's signature health care program, ending the threat to insurance coverage of 20 million people in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. At least 5 of the 9 justices appeared to reject the argument of President Donald Trump's administration that the entire Affordable Care Act is unconstitutional, based on legal questions over one questionable provision on penalties, which has already been neutered by legislation. Those 5 included Chief Justice John Roberts and Trump appointee Brett Kavanaugh. Conservatives that the opponents to the ACA or Obamacare hoped would support their case. But both indicated that Congress's 2017 decision to reduce to 0 the ACA's individual mandate penalty meant to compel people to buy insurance, left the overall ACA law in place and on firm legal ground. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau urges the nation's leaders to make health a priority over economics. In Edmonton, Bureau Chief Thomas Likeness is with us this evening. How you doing, Thomas?
Very good, Michael. Thank you. The economy has to take a back seat to protecting public health. Now, that was the word from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau this morning. He spoke with a number of reporters, alarmed at the rising number of COVID-19 cases. You know, the daily numbers in Canada are exceeding what we saw at the height of the pandemic back in the spring. Today, more than 4,600 new cases. Another 42 people have fallen victim to this infection. In my province, a group of 74 doctors sent a letter to our premier. They're calling on him to take action. They want him to implement what they call a circuit breaker lockdown. A circuit breaker lockdown. And that should run for 2 to 3 weeks, they say. Doctors say voluntary measures are not working and it's time for tough action. They add, if nothing's done, daily case counts could reach 2,000 by the end of December. But it's not only Alberta that's seeing rising numbers, it's the whole country. And that was Trudeau's message to reporters this morning: health first, economy second.
That no leader in our country is easing public health vigilance because they feel pressure not to shut down businesses or slow down our economy. I understand that worry, but let me tell you, that's how we end up with businesses going out of business and the economy damaged even more. Beating COVID is the only way to protect our economy. We're seeing record spikes this morning across the country. So I urge the premiers and the mayors to please do the right thing.
But no matter what we do, it's going to hurt. We're in that proverbial between a rock and a hard place. If we put the economy first, expect more infections, more deaths. Making public health the top priority, well, we're going to see more people out of work temporarily, some permanently, and more businesses closing permanently. Not easy times for our political leaders, feeling pressure from all sides in this crisis. While we watch our leaders try to strike a balance between health and economics, I wish you all good health. Remember to take care of others, take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and other current affairs. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks for the report, Thomas. I had a couple questions for you. So this is kind of a two-part question. So when did this lockdown begin? And then my second question is, you know, an exception of the medical community. I mean, what is everyone hoping that this lockdown is going to do?
Okay, first of all, in Alberta, there hasn't been a lockdown yet. They're calling on them. There have been lockdowns in hot spots in various parts of Canada. What they're hoping to do there is put the spread on hold so they can catch up with things like contact tracing, get those hospital beds emptied out so we can resume regular health care. Because right now what's happening is COVID patients are occupying beds that would otherwise be used for elective procedures. Now, the doctors say this short, sharp lockdown that they're calling for in Alberta, they call it a circuit breaker lockdown. This could lower the effective reproductive number. In other words, the number of people that get COVID from a single infection, a single infected case. And of course, like I said, allowing contact tracing to catch up. Now, following that, they say the restrictions could be eased in areas where the infection is under control, and the government could use targeted control measures in COVID hotspots. Bottom line, doctors say these numbers have to come down. Voluntary measures have not worked. A lot of people just not following them. And the docs say the government has to provide clear direction. They say we need rules, not suggestions.
Understood. And so how's the community, I guess, responding to this potential lockdown? Are they kind of rebelling against it? I know you guys have done lockdowns before, so I'm sure they're used to it by now. So are they surprised by it, or are they against it?
No, I think people are seeing those numbers go up, and more people are saying, yeah, these guys are right. They're the experts. We need to do something. We have to control the spread. Yeah, there's a vaccine on the horizon, but by the time you and I can get that needle to immunize ourselves, that's going to be sometime the middle of next year, if not later, because they first of all have to get it approved, then they have to produce enough of it to distribute it. So, yeah, people here are quite accepting of the fact that, yeah, maybe we have to look at a temporary lockdown because we don't want to be seeing 2,000 plus cases a day, not in this province. We can't handle that.
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense. Well, hey, thank you so much, Thomas. Appreciate the report. Stay safe out there.
You too, Michael.
Thanks. When we come back, updates from our Eagle News correspondents in Alexandria, Virginia, Houston, Texas, and Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Mga kababayan, naharap na naman po tayo sa mabigat na pagsubok na ito. Ito yung COVID-19.
I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's safe.
Nandito po kami para hikayatin pa po kayo na maging matibay.
Mas maging matatag po tayo and just stay positive po sa lahat po ng nangyayari ngayon.
Mga mahal kong kababayan, lampasan po natin, pagtagumpayan po natin ang pagsubok na ito.
Stay strong sa panahon po na to.
Huwag tayong mawawalan ng pag-asa.
At inihikayat din po namin kayo na sana makinig po tayo sa ating gobyerno.
Sumunod muna tayo sa gobyerno dahil yun yung pinakamainam na paraan para hindi na lumagana pa yung virus.
Let's all stay at home.
Spend time with our loved ones, with our families.
At higit po sa lahat, make sure to pray for everyone, pray for everything that is going on right now, especially our frontliners po who are sacrificing their lives to take care of everything.
Higit sa lahat, patuloy tayong lumapit, magtiwala at manalangin sa ating Panginoong Diyos.
Lagi tayong manalangin dahil yung po ang may pinaka-mainam na solusyon sa lahat po ng mga problema natin.
God bless you and your family. Please stay strong and keep our faith.
Tuloy po ang laban.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Mga kababayan, naharap na naman po tayo sa mabigat na pagsubok na ito. Ito yung COVID-19.
I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's safe.
Nandito po kami para hikayatin pa po kayo na maging matibay.
Mas maging matatag po tayo and just stay positive po sa lahat po ng nangyayari ngayon.
Mga mahal kong kababayan, lampasan po natin, pagtagumpayan po natin ang pagsubok na ito.
Stay strong sa panahon po na to.
Huwag tayong mawawalan ng pag-asa.
At inihikayat din po namin kayo na sana makinig po tayo sa ating gobyerno.
Sumunod muna tayo sa gobyerno dahil yun yung pinakamainam na paraan para hindi na lumagana pa yung virus.
Let's all stay at home.
Spend time with our loved ones, with our families.
At higit po sa lahat, make sure to pray for everyone, pray for everything that is going on right now, especially our frontliners po who are sacrificing their lives to take care of everything.
Higit sa lahat, patuloy tayong lumapit, magtiwala at manalangin sa ating Panginoong Diyos.
Lagi tayong manalangin dahil yung po ang may pinaka-mainam na solusyon sa lahat po ng mga problema natin.
God bless you and your family. Please stay strong and keep our faith.
Tuloy po ang laban.
Welcome back, everybody. You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Michael Hudson in Everett, Washington. It's only a few days before Thanksgiving weekend, the busiest weekend in airports. In Virginia, extra flights are scheduled to accommodate holiday travelers amid the coronavirus pandemic. In Alexandria, EJ Gonzalez joins us tonight. How you doing, EJ?
Hey, I'm doing well, Mike. Thanks, man. We're just a little over 2 weeks from the Thanksgiving holiday, and airlines are preparing for what they anticipate on being their busiest week since the start of this pandemic. Before we get into this story, here's a look at the COVID numbers in Virginia. According to the Virginia Department of Health, Virginia has recorded its highest single-day case count since the outbreak of COVID-19. More than 2,100 new cases were reported this past weekend, with significant spread in the southwest and central regions. The 7-day moving average has now reached a new peak, indicating signs that this pandemic is far from over. Governor Northam held a briefing today, and with the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, he provided some tips on how to safely hold gatherings. Here's what he had to say.
I'm not saying don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but if you're planning to gather with people outside of your household, think about ways to do it more safely. Consider how the space is ventilated, or think about ways to have gatherings outdoors, especially if the weather is like it is today. Wash your hands. Think about smaller gatherings and wear a mask. I want you all to be safe and to stay healthy and to do what you can to keep your friends and family healthy.
Although there have been spikes in cases nationwide, many are still eager to travel. United Airlines reported that travel demands for Thanksgiving holiday have been trending to be the busiest week of the year since March. There's been a 10% increase compared to last year for customers who have booked their flights less than 30 days to departure. In response to the demand, certain airlines have added more than 1,400 domestic flights for Thanksgiving week. Dulles Airport in Virginia, one of the main hubs in the nation, has added hundreds of flights, including daily departures to the Caribbean and Central America. Airports and airlines are aware that this may be the first time many are traveling or boarding a plane since the start of the pandemic, and are taking the necessary precautions to keep travelers comfortable and safe. Dulles International Airport has increased sanitization in high-touch areas such as restrooms, escalators, and elevators. Floor decals are placed throughout the terminals to encourage social distancing, and plexiglass barriers have been installed in areas where there may be customer and staff interactions. Well, whether you plan to stay in place or travel for the upcoming holiday, we're wishing you all safety and good health. In Alexandria, Virginia, EJ Gonzalez, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, EJ. I really appreciate it. So with Thanksgiving coming up, do you have any traveling plans right now?
No, personally, we won't be doing any traveling. We actually haven't traveled or boarded a plane since the beginning of the pandemic, actually in January when we went to the Philippines. And that was when, things were getting a little bit hectic. It wasn't anything here in the States yet, but while we were boarding planes, there were a lot of precautions being taken already. But my parents, they've had the experience of flying during this pandemic, and they actually said it feels a lot safer than normal times. They spread the passengers throughout the plane, so no one is sitting next to each other. And they seem to conduct more sanitizing, which is always great, right? But for me, no, there won't be any traveling. We are hoping, though, that our families could make the trip over here to spend some time together during the time off.
Yeah, I can speak to that. I actually flew down to California a couple weeks ago, and the same thing. They're really, really precautious about, keeping people separated. There was only a 2-door row, and they're appropriately apart. And then also, yeah, like you said, they were sanitizing like crazy on the planes. But if you could pick, if none of the pandemic was going on right now, do you have like a usual routine that you do? Do you like to stay home? Do you go to places? I mean, which place would you want to go to if you could?
Honestly, so our anniversary, my wife and I, our anniversary is actually near Thanksgiving. So we always try to do a small getaway, whether it's just a little trip up north to New York. That's always fun. But hopefully we're still able to celebrate despite this pandemic. If we were able to go anywhere, though, I wouldn't mind going back to Europe or to Japan, because those are definitely one of the top trips that we've had recently.
Oh man, that would be nice. Well, hey, thanks, EJ. Appreciate the report. Stay safe out there. We'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Several stories from the Lone Star State tonight. A Houston police sergeant gets killed in the line of duty, and the city of Houston offers a virtual option to celebrate Veterans Day. Eagle News correspondent Jessica Isidro has the details. How you doing tonight, Jessica?
I'm good. And thank you, Michael. Howdy from the Lone Star State. The city of Houston mourns the loss of 47-year-old police sergeant Sean Rios, who was killed in the line of duty while responding to a shooting on his way to work on Monday. In a press briefing yesterday, Houston Police Chief Art Acevedo told reporters that at 1:30 p.m., Sergeant Rios was on his way to work at the airport when he responded to a call concerning gunshots with one person injured. Rios arrived on the scene and engaged with the shooter, but was shot in the exchange of gunfire. Rios ran to a nearby motel lobby, but collapsed from his wounds and was pronounced dead on the scene, according to the chief. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner said during a news briefing on Monday, "It has been a very rough year in our city, and this is a very tragic case. I'm asking the city to pray for this family, to lift them up, and then I want the city to pray for the police officers and also to pray for the city because this has been a crazy year." At a press conference Tuesday, Chief Acevedo announced that 24-year-old Robert Solis was arrested during a felony traffic stop. Solis was in the passenger seat and was identified by officers from the Narcotics Tactical Team as a prime suspect in the ongoing investigation. Solis was arrested on the charge of murder, and HPD is on the hunt for a second suspect. Sergeant Rios has served the Houston Police Department for 25 years and leaves behind 4 children, ages 9, 12, 14, and 17, his parents, a brother, and 2 cousins who are also officers in the HPD. He is the 4th officer to fall in the line of duty since December. Meanwhile, this Veterans Day, Houston will be honoring all who served in the U.S. Armed Forces through a virtual program hosted by Mayor Sylvester Turner. The 23rd annual Houston Salutes American Heroes will include a moment of silence and a swearing-in ceremony for military recruits. The mayor will be joined by the director of Mayor's Office of Veteran Affairs, Dr. Stephen Hall, and representatives from every military branch. Limited guests will be invited to gather in person due to COVID-19 safety measures. The virtual program will be held Wednesday, November 11, 2020 at 10:45 a.m. and can be viewed online or via audio by call-in. Visit HoustonTX.gov for more information. In Houston, Texas, I'm Jessica Isidro, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks so much, Jessica. So really quick question for you. So what are some of the pros and cons of the virtual celebrations as opposed to in person?
Well, I like to think of myself as an expert when it comes to virtual celebrations because I'm in a long distance relationship. But, the pros as of right now, I think are number 1, no risk of contracting COVID. And then from a business standpoint, you could say it's very cost effective because you don't have to think about things like what are the people going to eat? What are these people going to drink? What else are we going to do to give things away? Like give, swag bags. And then attendee growth. There's a chance to invite more people since more people can just log in on their devices. Now a con, it's not as fun celebrating something without other people around. A lot of people have a short attention span for online events, myself included. And there's a higher rate of people registering, but also not showing up to the event.
Got it. That's a pretty extensive list there. So I have nothing to add. You took all of my thoughts. But hey, thank you so much, Jessica. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. You too.
Facing a second wave of coronavirus, New Jersey is taking action to beat it. And Union Township Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez has the story.
Thanks, Mike. Governor Phil Murphy on Tuesday signed Executive Order Number 194, which contained mitigation measures. These new COVID-19 mitigation measures contain restrictions on seating and hours for restaurants. Governor Murphy said, as cases of COVID-19 increase across the country and in our state, we must take all measures necessary to stop the spread. In the interest of the public health, we are requiring modifications in operations for businesses that serve food and drinks, and temporarily prohibiting interstate games and tournaments for indoor K-12 sports. We must come together as a state to once again beat back this deadly virus and to save lives. Restaurants and other businesses that serve food will not be able to operate indoors between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. Outdoor dining can continue after 10 p.m. along with takeout and delivery services. Restaurants will be allowed to set up plastic dome tents outdoors, which is limited to one group only as an additional outdoor dining space. And for sports, college and professional sports will be unchanged. Only those K-12 will be prohibited. And as for coronavirus stats and numbers, New Jersey reports of 3,877 new positive COVID-19 cases, pushing the total to 260,430. Sadly, New Jersey is reporting 21 new COVID-19 deaths, pushing the total to 14,661 lives lost. In Union Township, New Jersey, Carlo Valdez, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you so much. When we come back, updates from our Eagle News correspondents in Las Vegas, Nevada, North Hills, and Sacramento, California. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Hindi mo ba alam, mauubos daw ang mga tissue products? Bakit naman? Ang raw materials daw ng mask at tissue products ay iisa lang. Saan naman galing ang balitang yan? Ay basta, narinig ko lang din. Maraming dilim kayang nagpo-post sa Facebook at Twitter, kaya kung ako sa'yo, kumuha ka na din. Sige na't mauna na ako sa'yo
Huwag basta-basta magpaniwala
sa mga nakikita
o nababasa sa social media.
Magsaliksik at i-verify ang lahat ng impormasyon
nakukuha sa internet.
Tandaan,
maging responsable tayo
sa paggamit ng social media
nang hindi magdulot ng panic sa iba.
Kung paanong dapat labanan ng COVID-19
ay gayon din ang ating pagsugpo
sa black propaganda
at maling impormasyon.
Dennis Lu,
Lou Amelda,
General Fartosa,
Tyranel Pililu,
Hannibal Arevalo,
EBC,
Japan, Euro. We live in interesting times.
Hi everyone! Net25 Kids is inviting you to EBC Webinars 2020. A series of educational and informative webinars for teachers and parents, which will be live-streamed via Net25 Kids' YouTube page. We will be featuring several guest speakers with years of experience to share information that would be valuable and helpful for teachers and parents as they educate and manage their children in these interesting times. Hope you will join us! For updates, schedules, and more information, please follow the Net25 Kids Facebook page.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Michael Hudson in Everett, Washington. After months of only online learning, the school district of Clark County in Nevada plans to transition to hybrid instruction. That is a combination of in-person and online education. In Las Vegas, Bureau Chief Anna Cui reports. How you doing, Anna?
Hey, Mike. Nice to see you. Thank you. Yes, you heard that right. On Thursday, November 12th, CCSD Board of School Trustees will meet and possibly vote on the transitional plan to hybrid instructional model, which, if approved, will begin January 4, 2021, when students return to school after their winter break. This plan was already actually tentatively been approved by the Board of Trustees back in July, but the voting did not take place then. And then it was placed on hold again in September during the last consideration meeting. At that time, Southern Nevada Health District did not recommend reopening of schools due to the COVID-19 cases. Now, according to CCSD, the proposed 200-page plan covers various topics, including the hybrid education model, which consists of, as you mentioned, face-to-face instruction. This will be for 2 days, and then 3 days of distance education for students each week. Parents will continue to have the option to remain in full-time distance education if they choose. They are being encouraged to complete the survey sent out by CCSD last week on which cohort they prefer. It also includes sanitation protocols, cleaning of schools, along with bus transportation plans for students. And the process to inform parents and employees of COVID-19 cases, they're talking about having a dashboard added to the CCSD website. And, with those students and employees, teachers with symptoms at their respective schools and work sites will be included in that dashboard. So Superintendent Jesus Jara says it's important to note that this is a proposed plan and the content is not final. He also stated that this plan follows the health and safety guidelines provided for schools, but also gives the children the opportunity to address academic gaps and engage with their, not only their peers, but also their teachers. On the flip side, however, the number of COVID-19 cases have been rising here in Nevada, with a cumulative test positivity rate of 13.7% as of yesterday, comparing to 9.6% 2 weeks ago. In Clark County, as of Monday, November 9th, the cumulative positivity rate is 11.1%. That's within a 14-day period, comparing that to 9.2% 2 weeks ago. And the case rate per 100,000 is at 700 compared to 490 2 weeks ago. So Mike, people are wondering why is reopening schools to in-person or even hybrid even being considered then? Well, the transition report states that although there is a health crisis that has kept children out of schools because of COVID-19, there's also a great need to balance that with the mental health crisis and the academic crisis that they're seeing in the students. So not to mention, there's also the ongoing concern with students not having internet connection and not having a device to connect, as we've reported previously. In addition, there's also the concern for student engagement once they have connectivity in a device. Now, speaking of connectivity, I just wanted to give a follow-up report. As of Friday, the Family Support Center had connected over 19,000 Clark County students with internet, and which is over 6,000 more than what we had reported in September. And according to Connecting Kids Nevada, it's the organization under the COVID-19 task force, there are still about 300 students left on the roll call, which means these students haven't checked in 3 or more times during a school week, and they have been unreachable by phone. That number is way down from over 6,000 in September. In Las Vegas, Anna Cui, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Anna. So, as far as the hybrid and the in-person, the hybrid educational program, do you have any anticipation of how long this is going to be? Is it going to be for the next year, next 2 years? What are you hearing right now?
Well, right now, if it is approved, they are going to vote on it on Thursday. If it's approved, it's going to be starting in January, and probably they anticipate it to be, to happen throughout the rest of the school year next year, depending on how the COVID-19, how the pandemic pans out here in Nevada. Mike?
Got it. And as far as other reactions from people in the community, what are their thoughts about the program in general?
Yes, I talked to both teachers and parents and even students. So there's a teacher who, her name is Amber Domini. She actually teaches first grade. And initially, she thought distance education, is harder, is more work. So she preferred going back to school when the school year started. But now, having experienced it, being at home, she also has kids going to school. And with the number of cases of COVID-19 going back and forth here in Clark County, she feels it will do more harm than good. She feels students will be stuck in the classroom all day. They have to continue to social distance. They have to continue to wear a mask. They have to eat in the classroom because she said there will be no recess allowed. So even though, they talked about mental health crisis and being able to socialize with other students, the students will not have the socialization that they were used to. So, she understands that mental health crisis some students are having, but, she doesn't feel that going back to in-person will help that. And then I spoke also to a parent. He agrees with the hybrid model. However, he also has concern that, some students will have a hard time really observing the social distancing and wearing the mask. And then, of course, he's concerned with his kids contracting the virus from other students. Mike?
Understood. Well, hey, thank you so much, Anna. Always good seeing you. Stay safe out there. Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Sacramento County is moving back to the purple tier on California's blueprint for a safer economy. In Sacramento, Bureau Chief Angel Membrere explains what this means.
Thank you. Today, the Supreme Court of the United States heard a case which challenges the Affordable Care Act, which is commonly known as Obamacare. The Affordable Care Act is opposed by the Republican Party and heavily supported by the Democratic Party. President-elect Joe Biden is one of those who have publicly defended the Affordable Care Act today. And here is a clip of Governor Newsom with more on why the ACA is important.
We didn't wait around and look at the Affordable Care Act as a ceiling. We looked at it as a floor. We looked at it as an opportunity to architect something that no other state in America has done. And it's worth reminding people that there's no other state providing subsidies for middle-income families. These are folks earning 400% to 600% of federal poverty. At last count, those subsidies are over $500 a month. This is so often forgotten. It's rarely even referenced or mentioned, but we are providing, no other state in America, providing over $500, in fact, exactly $509 for middle-income families, subsidies on a monthly basis, first in the nation, to help subsidize the costs related to the Affordable Care Act. We also deepening subsidies for people earning less than 400% of federal poverty at about $21 a month. We're proud of that. And all of this, again, can be impacted if the ACA is thrown out.
As coronavirus cases have surged in different parts across the state of California, a few counties, including here, Sacramento County, have moved back in their tier assignment based off of the blueprint for a safer economy. Dr. Erica Pond reminds us of what the tier system is.
As you are also likely very familiar with, your county color determines what operations you can do in your county. So just to highlight again, we have the widespread or purple tier, and that's when you have adjusted case rates over 7 and a positivity rate over 8%. We have our red substantial rates and case rates 4 to 7, positivity rates of 5 to 8%, and then the health equity quartile needs to have test positivity rates between 5.3 to 8.0%. And again, we have a moderate range of the orange, 1.0 to 3.9 case rates with the positivity rates 2.0 to 4.9. And again, our health equity quartile needs to be at 2.2 to 5.2%. And then minimal disease transmission in our yellow is less than 1.0 of case rates and less than 2.0% of test positivity.
Also, as cases continue to increase across the nation, Governor Newsom reiterates the importance of wearing a mask to slow the spread of COVID-19.
Please take seriously the new rates, the new positivity numbers. Take seriously how deadly this disease continues to be averaging 44 deaths every single day. In the state of California, over a 7-day period, this disease continues to be deadly. And a vaccine will come, but it's not going to come soon enough. This remains the most important thing you can do to mitigate the spread and the transmission of coronavirus.
In Sacramento, California, Angel Manberry, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Fans of Jeopardy's longtime host Alex Trebek mourn his death. In North Hills, Eagle News correspondent Joel Garcia has the details. Joel?
Thank you, Michael. Fans of the popular game show Jeopardy mourn the recent passing of longtime host Alex Trebek. Alex Trebek, dead at 80 years old, is survived by his children Matthew, Emily, Nikki, and Jean, his loving wife of 30 years. It was reported that at the time of his passing on Sunday morning, Trebek's family and friends were by his side. Trebek, who had been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer in March of last year, continued to host Jeopardy for 18 more months despite being in pain every day while on set as described by his coworkers. Tributes have poured in from both those who knew Trebek personally and from fans whose only connection with him was through the TV screen. Let's listen to one such tribute from the executive producer of Jeopardy. Let's take a look.
Over the weekend, we lost our beloved host, Alex Trebek. This is an enormous loss for our staff and crew, for his family, and for his millions of fans. He loved this show and everything it stood for. In fact, he taped his final episodes less than 2 weeks ago. He will forever be an inspiration for his constant desire to learn, his kindness, and for his love of his family. We will air his final 35 episodes as they were shot. That's what he wanted. On behalf of everyone here at Jeopardy, thank you for everything, Alex. This is Jeopardy.
Trebek, a native of Sudbury, Ontario, spent his collegiate years at the University of Ottawa, where he graduated with a degree in philosophy. And despite eventually moving to Los Angeles, Alex never forgot his alma mater, establishing scholarships there and supporting the building of the Alumni Hall, which was named in his honor in 2015. Canada continued to recognize Trebek's rising fame by awarding him with one of the nation's highest civilian distinctions, being named an Officer of the Order of Canada. Trebek is also among a select class to have a star on both the Canadian and Hollywood Walk of Fame. Before Jeopardy was aired in 1984, Trebek worked for the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, delivering news reports in both radio and television, and in 1973 broke into the American television when he became the host of NBC's game show entitled Wizard of Oz. Following his US debut, Alex would continue to land hosting jobs until finally settling in as Jeopardy's permanent resident presenter, hosting over 8,200 episodes over the span of almost 37 years for Jeopardy. Alex Trebek continued to amass various accomplishments, such as achieving a Guinness World Record for hosting the most number of episodes for the same game show. Alex has won 7 Daytime Emmys and a Peabody Award, and was conferred a Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. He was also named a member of the Broadcasting and Cable Hall of Fame, and along with Jeopardy, was inducted into the National Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Trebek was also involved with humanitarian work, visiting numerous third world countries as a spokesperson of the World Vision Organization. Just this year, and much closer to home, Alex and his wife donated to the Hope of the Valley Rescue Mission located in the San Fernando Valley. In North Hills, California, Joel Garcia, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Michael?
Appreciate the report, Joel. So I know that Mike Richards, the executive producer, mentioned that they already shot the last 35 episodes and they'll air. Do you know when the final episode's going to air?
According to a statement from Jeopardy representatives, Alex Trebek was last in studio just on October 29. And all the episodes he was able to host will continue to be broadcast up until the 25th of December. As of this time, there's no announcements for a replacement host to be made. Michael?
Got it. Okay, well, hey, thank you so much, Joel. We were very blessed to be able to witness such a terrific host. He's definitely a legend, and stay safe out there. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.
When we come back, the business news with Bobby Soriano and a virtual roundtable discussion in observance of National Forget-Me-Not Day. This is Eagle News America.
Hey there, Arnie Aquino here at Hatley Castle, one of the filming locations for the X-Men series. Don't forget to tune in to Digital Nest only on Net 25.
Several stories from our business desk in New York. Bobby Soriano with the details.
Good evening. U.S. markets have closed. Here are your latest business headlines. Begun the next-gen console war has, as Microsoft launched the latest generation of the Xbox today. Dubbed as the Xbox Series S and Series X, many online outlets are already reporting a complete sellout of their pre-allocated supply, with buyers snatching up any in-store stock before it even hits store shelves. Microsoft is seeing strong demand for its console despite rival Sony announcing strong demand for its PlayStation 5, which is due to also launch in a few days. Both Microsoft and Sony have benefited greatly from households looking to find new forms of entertainment as the pandemic continues to keep families at home. Major oil producer BP is looking to position itself as a major player in green energy as the world looks to inevitably move on from fossil fuels. BP announced a partnership with renewable energy company Ørsted to produce hydrogen, which is used mostly as fuel for refining and chemical production. The partnership with Ørsted is part of a broader plan by BP announced in September to reduce its oil and gas production by 40% over the coming decade. The oil and gas industry has faced ever-increasing scrutiny as consumer sentiment has shifted towards climate change concerns. But major oil producers are still hesitant on completely leaving behind fossil fuels, as the costs of producing renewable energy are still greater than traditional energy methods. Apple held its One More Thing online event today to tout the newest refresh of its MacBook product line. The latest iterations of the MacBook will feature for the first time Apple's new M1 chip, which was designed entirely for the Mac product line, allowing for better power efficiency and processing performance. The announcement of the M1 chip, for all the benefits being announced for consumers, will most likely benefit Apple the most, as the company will no longer have to rely on chipmaker Intel to provide the chips necessary to power their products. And Apple looks to completely transition away from that reliance within the next few years. The newest line of MacBook products are available for pre-order today with an official launch next week. Lastly, cosmetics retailer Ulta Beauty looks to expand into Target starting next year. The move by Ulta looks to enhance their physical and online presence, as profit from their makeup and other beauty care products have declined 95% from the year prior due to more and more people feeling less of a need to wear cosmetics while working from home, while wearing a mask, and while there are less social events to attend. The partnership with Target is a logical choice, as Target has been relatively unaffected by community lockdowns due to the retail chain being deemed as an essential business. U.S. indices closed mixed today as investors continue to rotate their assets into stocks better suited for the upcoming season. Reporting from New York, Bobby Soriano, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Appreciate it, Bobby. Thank you so much. So as we reach the final portion of our show tonight, today is National Forget-Me-Not Day. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you around. We'll go around the horn here in order, and we'll ask you two questions. So One, the person you wish will never forget you. And number two, the person you wish will forget you. So, Thomas, we'll start with you.
Well, the person I want to always remember me, and I know she always will, is my wife. The person I would like to forget me, any one of them in the income tax department. They can forget me, never want to hear from them again.
That is a good one. Never even thought of that one until now. EJ, how about you?
Yeah, I have to go the same route. My wife, you know, we've been watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy, so they do a lot of brain surgeries, and, you know, there are a lot of people forgetting people, but we just spoke to each other the other day. We were like, you know, I hope we never forget each other like that. So definitely my wife would be the answer. For someone who I would want to forget me, you know, I was thinking about it. I don't owe anyone money, so I think I'm in the clear. I think I'm good. Everyone can remember me.
All right, I'll let you get away with that one. All right. And how about you, Jessica?
Well, along the same lines, I would hope my boyfriend would never forget me, as well as my grandma and my dogs. Now, as far as who I want to forget me, my student loan servicers.
That's always important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you must owe a lot of money. I'm just kidding. We won't let you. We won't let you reveal those numbers on our show. We could talk off air about that. Thanks for sharing. How about you, Anna?
Hi, Mike. So I have to say my husband, because he said, make sure you mention me. He doesn't forget me. But more so, I'm going to be, you know, a bit of sentimental here. My children, I hope, I know they won't forget me, but I do hope that they won't forget all the, you know, advice that I've given them, especially to always, you know, hold on to their faith. I hope that they'll never forget that. And I'm with Thomas, and you know, as far as the taxes, yeah, I wouldn't mind if IRS forgets me, or like Jessica, my student loan servicer. Mike.
Man, it's a common theme among us all. I'm not surprised. How about you, Joel?
As far as someone who, probably my grandmother, because when I visited her last year, she actually did forget me, so that was quite sad. And so I hope then the next time I get to visit her, she'll remember who I am. But as far as someone who I would like to forget me, I'm very unoriginal, as Thomas and Jessica said, and even Anna. I would love for whoever I owe money to forget me. But
nice.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Gotcha. Yeah, for me, it's my wife, and then sometimes I'm notoriously getting a lot of parking tickets, so I hope the meter maid forgets about me. So we'll see what happens with that. With that being said, we continue to thank our healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers with a round of applause. Thank you so much for all that you do, guys. We appreciate you, and that's today's episode of Eagle News America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Michael Hudson. We live in interesting times.
Impormasyong mahalaga sa taong bayan. Patas na pagbabalita. Papakinggan ang magkabilang panig. Lilinawin ang mga issue at kaagad